Hi, this is Inform TV 100. Happy Black History Month. This is the last day of Black History Month. February 29th is leap year 2024. I hope that everyone has gotten something out of the presentations and us reading together the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. And I hope that everyone will go back and listen to his story. So I'm going to read as the last part of the book. I'm going to read the afterword, and I'm going to read what the publishers, present publishers, had to say about this book. Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was born a slave, denied an education, and expected to work like a beast of the fields until the day he died. But Douglass' mind and spirit could not be imprisoned as he secretly learned to read and write. Douglass looked ahead to the day he could escape the chains of slavery. Once free, he wrote this classic of American literature. It is a story that shocked the world with its firsthand account of the horror and brutality of slavery. So, to that state that says that they're going to teach in their history, they're going to teach that there was a benefit from slavery, the people that allow that should be ashamed of themselves. And we're talking about it's in the Sunshine State. I just saw it on MSNBC that the governor and the people in the state are in that state are saying that they're going to teach that there was a benefit of slavery. There was a benefit of being murdered, being whipped, treated like an animal, and being imprisoned. Is that what's we're doing in 2024? We're saying that to be imprisoned, to be beat, to be treated like animals, there's a benefit to that. That's why this book is so important. There was no benefit, not one benefit at all. So Joe Madison said, what are you going to do about it? So now I'm going to finish the book, The Afterword, about the author. When Frederick Douglass ends his narrative, he is a young married man of about 24. This is Inform TV 100. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And please share. Please hit the notification bell. Now, this afterword, I read this in the last in chapter 16 of my chapter 16, but I went over it to finish up. I want to dive in it a little bit slowly and read everything so you can understand what this man truly was about. He's a young married man of about 24, newly arrived in the free state of Massachusetts and just beginning to be known as a public speaker. He closes his book by saying that he is pleading the cause of my fellow slaves. I leave it to those acquainted with my efforts to decide my degree of success. How successful was Douglass in pleading the cause? The fact is that the publication of the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass made its author a famous and influential man. It put him in the spotlight, and that at first was not a comfortable position for him. But let's back up a little and fill in some important gaps in Douglass' story. First of all, how did he escape from slavery? As Douglass explained in his narrative, he could not provide details without getting other people in trouble. But years later, after slavery was abolished in the United States, he did publish the story of his escape. In Baltimore, he had become friends with a free black man, a sailor named Benny. Benny offered to lend his own identity papers to Douglas for his journey north. Now, using the papers was very dangerous for both Douglas and Benny. Benny could be arrested for helping Douglas, and Douglas for helping Benny, accepting the help. And Douglas, of course, would be returned to slavery. If he was caught, to make matters worse, Benny and Douglas looked nothing alike, and Benny's papers included a description of their owner. Taking Benny's papers, Douglas dressed as a sailor and boarded a train headed north. Thanks to his work in the shipyards, Douglas could talk the talk of a sailor, and he managed to escape suspicion. His papers were checked several times, but not carefully. He even met several white people who knew him as a slave in Baltimore, but dressed in his sailor's clothing, they did not give him a second glance. Still feeling miserably anxious, he rode the train from Baltimore into Delaware, also a slave state. There he boarded a boat to Philadelphia and from there took another train to New York, where he picks up his story again in the narrative. And it was 1841 that Douglas spoke at a meeting of the Massachusetts Anti Slavery Society, describing what freedom meant to him. Critics had said that Douglas was a fraud. They said he was too literate and too articulate to have really been a slave. That is on them. But there was at his eulogy, he got praised as being just a phenomenal anti slavery contributor. And they want people to make sure that we continue his footsteps, the fight for freedom and equality.